Ukraine and economic competitiveness between the US and France will be some of the main topics when French President Emmanuel Macron makes his first state visit to Washington under the Biden administration later this week. The anti-government protests in Iran, the subsequent regime crackdown on demonstrators, and the government vacuum in Lebanon will be among the other talking points when Macron meets with US President Joe Biden and senior US officials. When French President Emmanuel Macron pays his first state visit to Washington under the Biden administration later this week, the issues of Ukraine and US-French economic competition will likely come up frequently. Other topics up for discussion when Macron meets with US President Joe Biden and senior US officials include the anti-government demonstrations in Iran, the subsequent crackdown by the regime on protesters, and the political void in Lebanon. This week, Macron will visit the U.S. where he will meet with Vice President Biden, representatives from the State Department, and the speakers of both houses of Congress. The official, who spoke to reporters in Washington under the condition of anonymity, said that Macron would be the first French president to make two state visits to the U.S. Trump's predecessor, former U.S. President Macron, also made his first official state visit. The official stated, being the first state visit under the Biden-Harris administration is really a great honor for our country, and it's also a really important confirmation of our oldest alliance, as well as our strategic partnership in the world of today and tomorrow. However, relations between the two nations have been repaired, and France's top diplomat declared last month, France is the US's ally and your friend. US-French relations have benefited from coordination to aid Ukraine in fending off the Russian invasion as well as ongoing collaboration in Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon. The Biden administration's Inflation Reduction Act is a significant sticking point, though, about which France has expressed both public and private dissatisfaction. The act is intended to protect US manufacturers, but EU nations believe it directly targets European businesses, which are already in a precarious situation as a result of China's economic policies and Russia's conflict with Ukraine. The French official stated that Macron would discuss this with Biden and senior U.S. lawmakers on Capitol Hill. Additionally, Macron will travel with a number of business representatives from France. The official stated, "I would present these talks as a necessity to resynchronize our economic policy developments and to avoid a divergence between us on the subject of our competitiveness. We want to advance alongside the U.S. We want Europe, like the U.S., to come out of this period, especially from the Russia-Ukraine war, stronger, not weaker," the official said in reference to the Russian war on Ukraine and its effects on Europe. According to the official, France, along with Germany and other countries, is currently one of the top 5 foreign investors in the U.S. According to the French official, France intends to host a donors conference for Ukraine in Paris on December 13. According to the official, Iran is to blame for the impasse that has prevented progress toward reviving the now-defunct 2015 nuclear deal. "It's really concerning that Iran itself has changed the situation completely. On several levels, it's concerning," the official said. By refusing to comply with requests from the UN agency charged with monitoring the nuclear program, Tehran has broken its own promises. And in recent months, Iran has actively participated in the conflict in Ukraine by giving Russia drones to use against Ukrainian civilians and vital infrastructure. An Iranian nuclear deal has not advanced, according to the French official, in part because of the imprisonment and persecution of French citizens living there. "We are in a very, very clear and challenging time in our relations with the Iranian government, which all of this just compounds. Iran is also attacking Kurdish targets inside of Iraq, and Turkey has bombed Kurds there while preparing an invasion on land." The official reaffirmed previous French positions, saying that France is very active with regard to the stability and sovereignty of Iraq. The French official said that in regards to Lebanon, US-French cooperation is still strong in efforts to persuade the Lebanese political class to elect a new president and form a government. The representative thanked Washington for bringing attention to the French role in mediating the historic maritime border agreement between Israel and Lebanon. On Lebanon, there are only commonalities between the U.S. and France, and I am confident we will continue to work on this issue, because it's a strong priority in the Middle East for both the U.S. and France. The U.S. declares that the world's eyes are on Iran and applauds the recent EU sanctions against Tehran.